Should you buy VR to play Assetto Corsa? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be answering this question. If you're like me and been asking yourself whether on a single screen, two screens, or triple screens, is VR any better? Starting out is pricing. You can buy an older model like the Pico 4 or the Meta Quest 2 or the Meta Quest 1 for a little bit less than the newer models. In this video, we're going to be using the Meta Quest 3, which comes in at £480 without a customized faceplate and without a cable. You do have to remember though that you do need a half decent PC to run it. Now, it ain't going to need a NASA PC, but you will need a half decent spec. My recommendations is at least a 30 series GPU and a half decent CPU to keep up with the GPU for the processing power. So now the cons, okay, of having a VR headset. You look like you're from out of space and you belong in some sort of Warcraft video. Probably one of the biggest cons for me. I dislike wearing a headset, but once you're in there and you're in that element, I think it's a complete different experience. The second con I hate is having to have a cable always attached to your headset. This is kind of important. If you don't have a cable enabled and you have Wi-Fi, the experience is kind of not that good. You have to have a really good Wi-Fi 6E, and you've got to have it just solely for the computer and your headset to get the best experience. But when you use a cable, you don't have no lag, no latency, and the quality will be the best. The pros of having a VR headset is the ability to drive better. You will get more an immersive feeling when you're in the VR headset. It is super weird when you first try out a VR headset. It is pretty much like you are there, and that for me is a kind of unfamiliar feeling when you're in a rig and you first try it out, which brings me on to our next point, which is a con. You may get motion sickness. Now, how to deal with motion sickness when you first start on VR? My recommendations is to do 15-minute intervals until you get used to it. If you start feeling sick, and I mean you know your gut, you feel a bit weird, then please stop. Please have like a 30-minute break and then come back and then maybe do 10 minutes on, have a break. After a little bit, you will feel better. If you're suffering with lag when you're playing in a VR headset, just turn your settings down on your graphics and make sure you turn your headset like down a little bit. Make sure it's not too overpowering. And even my 4080 can't handle it sometimes. Maybe I need a 4090 to play in like 8K. I think the other thing that I dislike the most about having a VR headset is the price. Now, this is £480, not including the cable, and I also bought a custom faceplate because I didn't like the original one. So now we've covered all the points and what I do and don't like, and some things you should probably consider when buying a VR headset. But in today's video, we are mainly asking the question, should you actually buy it to play Assetto Corsa? And what we're going to do is we're going to fire it up in the sim rig and show you exactly what it's like to set up and how easy it is to play Assetto Corsa on VR. Answer that question, is it actually worth it? Video records, start recording, there we go. So now we're recording, now you can see where we are in the VR, and what I'm going to do is virtual desktop, fire this up, and we should see our desktop in the cinema right now. We exit out of the cinema and we'll go in like the office. Let's get in our office. We're now in our office, okay. It's quite cool being in this space. You kind of just not forget that you're doing what you're doing. Anyway, so we are gonna go on Assetto Corsa. All I've got to do is make sure in settings I'm in open VR because we are in virtual desktop. And then basically, you know, in this application, that's all we need to do. I think we may need to open Steam VR, so I'll launch Steam VR. I think you press the little 3 buttons on your remote control over here. I'm gonna go desktop 1, which is the main desktop, which is here. For some reason this remote stops working. Okay, we are gonna jump in just any car right now. Hopefully a non-manual will be nice. Yeah, we'll join in the Golf R Mark 8. And this is pretty much exactly how it looks for me, and this is exactly how it looks for you once you've joined in VR, okay? Only thing I find hard is finding the right headset to stick over your headset. I know that sounds really odd, but as you can see, headset over the headset, and then now we're in the VR space. See this cable, once you get used to it, it's not much of a problem, but obviously at the minute, it kind of feels like a little bit of a problem. But yeah, this is literally how easy it is to get into VR. Start loading, and then look, we're in VR. There's a couple of things I like to do over my usual settings with my mouse. I'm going to turn the brightness up a bit and turn the contrast up a bit.
looks a bit less grainy, I guess. There we go. Now we're in, okay? I don't know what it looks like for you. Maybe it might look like I'm on top of the steering wheel, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. There you go. And honestly, like, once we're in, once you've got set up, I genuinely think it's gonna be a hard experience to beat. It does feel really realistic. Right now though, I've got a couple problems with my settings. I feel like when I'm in this headset, like motion blur of some kind, it does take a little bit of faffing to get your settings right. That's probably one thing I'm gonna probably have to agree on, is once you get the VR set up, I think then it's a good time, but getting your VR set up can be a bit of a pain in the bum. I may make a tutorial. If you drop down the comments down below, let me know if you want me to make a tutorial for the best settings for VR. Oh, I will do so. It kinda, I genuinely, I can't beat it. Like, I've just been playing in third person, so I literally just finished a live stream. Make sure you go and check out my TikTok and my Twitch for live streams. But yeah, no, I just finished a live stream playing in third person, and this is miles more fun. And it's not only just Assetto Corsa you can play VR games in, there's plenty of different VR games out there for you to enjoy and try out. But one thing, honestly, like I touched on earlier about motion sickness, if you start to feel sick, please take the headset off. Like a slight bit of nausea, like what's it called, nausea? As soon as you start feeling that, please just take the headset off. You will thank me later, because you do not want to be sick, because then if you are sick, you not want to play it again. So if you just, small intervals, 15 minutes to 20 minutes, if you can do that, have a break, you know what I mean, get some water if you start feeling a bit weird, and then, you know, retry again, is basically what I recommend. Just so you're not actually being sick, you know. Other than that, once you get your settings set up and the graphics right, because if you haven't got half decent graphics in the game, it does look a bit weird. Oops. But for me, this looks pretty fantastic. The only thing I can say right now is there's like a weird motion blur, but that is to do with my settings. Sometimes, like my FPS right now is taking a right tanking for some reason. I don't even know why. We have a decent PC as well. But this is kind of part and parcel with having a modified game. This is not just the VR experience itself, it's Assetto Corsa, which is where it kind of falls into the cons. It's a bit of a nightmare to set up, but once you have it set up and you know like what to change, then it's kind of a W. The only thing I can really relate to playing in VR is that it literally does feel like the real thing. Should you buy VR for Assetto Corsa? Well, just look at it this way. It's not only just for Assetto Corsa, it can be for multiple different games. Family, friends, and yourself. The experience can be shared, and honestly, it's the best way to play. Once you get over this taste looking thing, it's honestly amazing. I think I like a right Wally, but I'm prepared to look like a Wally to enjoy myself. At the end of the day, stop being judgmental. I don't know what you guys think of VR. Do you think it's worth the price point that if you buy in? To be fair, if you even buy a cheaper headset, I can't really relate on like what that's like to play. But is the Meta Quest 3 worth the 480 quid to play in VR? I would say so myself, but let me know down in the comments below what you think. Please smash that subscribe button, please smash that like button, because this video was a pain in the bum to make because I deleted it twice. So this is my third time around making this video because Wireless Giant's an absolute donut. There's not really much else to say. It's the best thing since sliced bread, mate. You need to do it. Get on it in a bit.